Yo, what's going on, everybody? Another episode of Win Sports, man. A fun episode today. You guys probably saw me on Rio Robinson's stream earlier, talking about the new uniforms. The Commanders dropped some new uniforms today. You guys know I was big on, putting my opinion out there a few, weeks ago, a month ago, so about the uniforms and how they kind of can bring back the old school look with the new school thing. And granted, they've been working on these for a long time, but they kind of nailed it, man. Honestly, what they were able to present today was kind of incredible. I think that it kind of hit to what everybody was kind of looking for overall. It was beautiful, man. I think that the video and everything, and granted, we saw the leak yesterday, and the leak did not look good to me. When I saw that leak and when I saw that logo on that sweatshirt, I was not impressed. I was kind of like, oh man, they're fumbling this. And to be honest, I heard some rumblings earlier in the week about what the logo was gonna be, and I just didn't really understand how they could really make a spear and a W work together. I think they did it to the best of their ability. I know that some people are really just wishing that they just would have kept a spear, and I think I probably would have liked that too. But I think they also had some, there's rumblings about Florida State being able to push back on their ability to just do a full spear by itself. But at the end of the day, I think they did their best to basically, kind of tie the two together, the old school stuff, the new school stuff, and they gave something that's kind of new overall. And so, look, I've been covering this team for this will be my 6th season, I think, coming up. And I was there for the Washington football team 2021 season, and the uniforms were lackluster, right? And not having a team name was kind of not ideal. And I was very much somebody who's very vocal about them getting a name. Now they went with the Commanders. We know the 2-2-22 debacle. It didn't turn out well. I was there. It was cold as ice. They had the announcement outside. The energy was just kind of like cool. They made a change. They made a team name. No one liked the team name. It was very evident that majority of the people did not like it when it came to even the people there as well as the fan base. It was not ideal. And the jerseys themselves were not great. I remember leaving there being like, they're jerseys, they're new, but do you feel some type of way? They kind of went too far. They changed things up, and I think they wanted to make a splash, and they just went too far with it. And I think that we've seen what this new regime has done and how they've kind of done the opposite. They've come back to what people enjoy, what people like, and basically the experience is completely night and day from what we saw on 2-2-22 versus today. And I kind of wanted to do like a little bit more of a deep dive on some of this stuff, and I'm gonna see if I can kind of share my screen overall. And look, I'm here looking at the uniform, and this is it. Look, they went with a glossy finish on the main helmet, with the matte on the black. And I was on Rio's stream, so for those who saw my reaction, I've kind of been able to go back and look a little bit more in detail what I liked about them. Shout out to their team to put this video together. I thought the video was incredible. And then also we'll go through the photos. Shout out to Emily Morgan and Courtney Carroll. Super talented photographers. They do great work throughout the season, and they were able to do a gallery of the stuff as well. Basically I just, when it comes to the 3 uniforms, what I like the most is that they pretty much got the color scheme right? Like, this looks like the old school team, This looks like the team that, this looks like the Redskins team, right? Like, I know it's some people don't like to say the name. I don't think it's an issue saying the name. This looks like the team of old, right? Like we saw with the Super Bowl era jerseys last year. And I kind of like the gloss finish. I know some people wish they stayed with the matte. I like the gloss. I feel like it's true to that. And to be honest, like last night I couldn't sleep. I was kind of I had got some rumblings of what this was going to look like. And then I was also just kind of watching, old school Redskins videos and kind of just seeing how the uniform looked. It was like, okay, how close and accurate are they going to get to this? And they kind of nailed it with these two uniforms. They look exactly the same. The stripes on the side of the pants are so important. I think that people don't realize how much that brings. They've lacked that on their uniforms of late. And then if we talk about the black, man, I mean, look, there's a lot of people, let me not say everybody, a lot of people like the black uniforms. There are some people who don't like it and some people who don't feel like it's a color scheme for this team. I think it works very, very well with this team. And what I love the most is that, I didn't really like the gold numbers before. I love that they went to a burgundy number, right? The logo is the thing that I was not sure about. But when I saw this uniform and when I saw it, in the video, I was like, you know what? It actually works, right? Like, I don't know how well it would work on the burgundy. We talked about that a little bit on stream. But could it work? I don't know. I'm not sure, but essentially, it works on this helmet to me. It works really, really well. I thought the colors on the side, having the stripes on the pants on the black as well was super, super important to me. I thought they killed it with that. But basically, it looks clean. Like, each uniform looks really nice, and there's not any fluff, right? Like, I mean, you saw the biggest issue with the old school uniforms was that they were 3 different uniforms, right? None of them looked the same. Like, the black did not match you had the Washington on the white, you had the big Commanders on the burgundy, the black uniform had the W on the in the middle of the helmet and the numbers on the side. Like, there was no cohesion. And I think that that's one of the things that you heard, if you guys watched JP Finley and B Mitch today, they had the president on there talking about trying to make it unison between the 3 uniforms, and I think they did that really, really well. So we have this burgundy version here. I mean, look, it just looks so good. And they also, the big thing is having the difference of the different pants as well. Like, they can go back to the white. I know a lot of people love the gold. The gold, this looks a little less yellow to me, which I'm happy about. I don't really love that yellow look. So if it could look more gold, great. And then also the burgundy pants. I mean, I'm a big burgundy on burgundy guy. I know a lot of people don't like it that much. I like it a lot. And then they also put the gold face mask. I don't think they had that last year, right? So another positive, it just looks like that team from before, right? You go to, I want to go to the whites first, and the whites, we kind of got a look of what the whites looked like last year, right? I mean, we saw it in those Super Bowl era uniform games, and for me, when it came to photographing those games versus the rest of the season, it was very apparent how much more enjoyable it was to see that team and the way they looked, right? Like, even when I go back, I always go back and review my pictures after the season's over. And when I was reviewing pictures this year, I was just like, man, like, even though that Seattle game was horrible, even though they lost that, Broncos game, even though they lost all 3 games in that uniform, now that I think about it, I mean, granted, they lost a lot of games last year, but they look good. They look good. As much as they didn't play well, they look good. So, it's. I'm glad that they went this direction. The approval rating on this has been high, man. I mean, from all the people that I've seen that have done polls, it's been like 90%. People either like it or love it. There's a high level of people who enjoy it. There's always going to be people who don't, and I think there's always going to be people who want them to go back to the old school uniforms. That's just not going to happen overall, and I'm sorry to tell you. And maybe we heard something about maybe a retro version with the old logo. I don't really think that's going to happen, in my opinion. I don't think so. I think they could do something. There still could be another alternate that's coming in some capacity. I still think that dark burgundy, like the 70th anniversary, could come back if they do it as a retro. I don't know what the rules on this Florida State Spear thing is, so I don't know. I don't know what they could do, but I think that they are moving in the direction, and they clearly like the W enough, or there's reasons why they're keeping the W. I personally think that when the Commander Stadium gets built, we'll probably see another transition to something else by then, right? Like, I really do think that they're kind of like, hey, we can't do too much now, and they're really, if there's ever to be another change, in regards to this look, I think it does come when the new stadium is built. But ultimately, they're just going in the right direction. Now, I obviously want to talk about this Hellraiser uniform. The last one was called the Battle Blacks. I didn't love or hate the old school or the old blacks. I thought they were okay, and I thought that they looked good. I think they were probably the best uniform out of the three because I felt like they just didn't do so well on the burgundy and the white before. But basically, I hated the helmet from before. I thought it was terrible, and I did think for people who said they look like the Steelers, I don't think they look like the Steelers. I just think that they didn't look like the Commanders or they didn't look like the Washington team. It was too much yellow, not enough burgundy, and I think that was the best thing here is that they made the numbers burgundy. They added burgundy to the pants. They added burgundy to the helmet. Burgundy is a very, very strong element in this, and when it comes to the logo, yeah, I mean, I don't really like a spear with a W, but it works. It looks good. I don't know. I mean, I never thought I would say this looked good. When I saw this logo yesterday, I was like, oh, the uniform is going to be trash. And, basically, I'm pleasantly surprised about how it looked. And I did have somebody reach out to me and they were just like, hey, man, like, give it some time and check it out tomorrow. You might be, pleasantly surprised on how it turned out. But yeah, like it looks a lot better than what I thought. I think it's growing on a lot of people. And so, yeah, look, I can't wait, when they, I try to be at every game. But if whatever game they drop this out, I have to be there because I cannot wait to see that. I hope it's a night game, you know what I mean? And I hope it's kind of a blackout everybody comes with. So let's look at some of these photos too. I was kind of checking these out. Like I said, this is Emily Morgan. If you know Em, she is, I think she goes as FM Creative or something like that on Instagram. She's the one who had that one-handed catch of Traylon Burks last year. Amazing photographer, great person. Love sharing the sideline with her. So this is some of her shots, as well as Courtney Carroll, who is the main team photographer. She's also a great person. Both talented photographers. But yeah, look at this. I mean, what I love about the gloss is that it's going to shine, you know what I mean? Like when it comes to lights on it hits different than matte. Matte's good too, but when it comes to like night games or when the light's hitting on it, it's gonna look a little bit different, and I'm pretty excited for that. But outside of the gloss, these uniforms look exactly the same as the Super Bowl era from last year, but they just have a burgundy version now too. And look, it just looks like, I see this 26. It just reminds me of Clinton Portis. I'm so curious of who this model was that they used. Rio was saying that he was disappointed they didn't use any of the players. I don't know why they didn't, but I also can understand that. It would have been nice to see, like Terry and Jaden and all these other guys, kind of like how they did the rollout last year when they had 5 different people, involved with it. It would have been nice to see. But yeah, I mean, it just looks really clean. And then you get to the blacks, and they went with a darker backdrop. If you can tell, they went with like a white backdrop or gray backdrop, and then they went with a darker tone for these, trying to get into details overall. This is more of Courtney's work here, as you can see. But yeah, you see the matte does look different when the light is hitting it. Like you can see a little bit of that gloss look on the actual logo, but the matte is going to look different overall. It'll be interesting for like day games, like when the sun is beating on it hard. How's it going to look? It'll probably look a lot better at night. I think I would personally use these uniforms mostly for night games if it was me. But they look great, man. I mean, honestly, I know a lot of people, it's been a warm reception to it. Here's detailed shots that they have as well, going through the stitching and stuff like that. So I mean, they a lot of attention to detail when it comes to this, right? So that's it, man. This is the look, right? Like I kind of wanted to jump in because I know that, like, I put a lot of time and effort into this, and it really does affect us photographers that are out there, or us creatives that are trying to work. And shout out to the Commanders team. I talked to some of their designers today, and they're really proud of what they were able to accomplish. Shout out to the video team and the photo team to present this as well. But we knock them and we give them a hard time when things don't look right. I know I've done that. Well, let's give them some kudos when things do look right? And I feel like for the most part, I've seen a lot of warm reception, a lot of people showing them love, but I wanted to do that as well. I know a lot of people gave me love when I made the concepts, and I think that seeing what they did and knowing that they were going to be doing their own thing, and seeing what they were able to come up with, I'm just so pleasantly surprised and happy, and it makes me so excited for the season to come. And can't wait to see what draft pick they get next week and who dons this helmet or this hat next week, man. I'm really excited for that. So basically just want to give my 2 cents, a little bit of a deeper dive on the uniforms themselves. Thank everybody for those who subscribed and gave me love today on Rio's stream. It was a great time. I had a great time being with him. Thank you to Rio as well for having me. It was obviously a moment that we'll remember. For me, I'll remember that. I remember 2222 very well. I'm going to remember this one even more because it was definitely a much more fun environment. I guess I should accept these cookies. Hell no. But yeah, basically, I just basically had a great time and just want to say thank you all for the love and support that y'all give us. And we'll definitely keep updating with more content, and especially when the season, I know the content is just mostly me talking. When the season comes up, we're going to be doing a lot more interviews and a lot more daily updates when it comes to how the team is performing, especially training camp. Training camp is going to be huge for us. So anyways, thank you all for the time, and I'll talk to you soon.